Stop for a moment and consider the greatest moments of failure in your life. That time you lashed out in anger, the debt you racked up chasing a feeling, the endless loop of comparison that left you feeling worthless. We've been taught to label these moments and the powerful emotions behind them as sins, as failings of character, as proof of our imperfection. But what if I told you that the energy driving every single one of those sins is actually a beautiful, pure, and desperate cry from your soul? What if the worst parts of you are just the most distorted expressions of your deepest, most divine needs? We live in a world that forces us to constantly fight ourselves to repress our lust, tame our anger, and crush our greed. But this fighting only compounds the problem. Tonight, we're going to stop fighting. We are going to learn the hidden language of the soul. We are going to decode the 7 deadly sins, not as moral judgment, but as a roadmap to your true spiritual needs. This understanding is the core of true spiritual alchemy, the ability to turn heavy, dense negativity into powerful, focused light. Part 1. The 7 distortions and the soul's true cravings. Your ego, that survival mechanism, takes a pure, high vibrational soul need and distorts it through the lens of fear and lack. The result is the pattern we recognize as sin. Let's break down this energetic translation, starting with the most compelling cravings. 1. The distortion of lust, the craving for connection. When you are feeling lust, that driving, intense, sometimes obsessive search for physical gratification, your soul is actually craving connection. It's not simply searching for bodies, it is searching for bonding. Lust is the ego's poor attempt to fulfill the soul's need for profound intimacy. The soul knows that true connection, the deep, vulnerable merging of two spirits, is one of the most powerful and nourishing forces in the universe. But the ego, fearing rejection and vulnerability, settles for the fastest, most superficial imitation, the physical transaction. The lesson here is clear: stop seeking the quick release, seek the depth of shared humanity. 2. The distortion of gluttony, the craving for nourishment. When you are feeling gluttony, that urge to consume, to take in more food, more media, more possessions than you need, your soul is actually craving nourishment. You're not hungry for more, your soul is hungry to feel full inside. This is the spiritual emptiness, the hunger for meaning, the longing for an internal life so rich it can sustain itself. The ego, mistaking spiritual emptiness for physical emptiness, attempts to fill the void with external matter. But no amount of food, shopping, or mindless scrolling will ever fill a spiritual hole. True nourishment is found in stillness, in purpose, and in the presence of the divine within. 3. The distortion of greed, the craving for security. When you are feeling greed, that relentless, grasping drive to accumulate wealth, power, or status beyond measure, your soul is actually craving security. Your ego is craving the material symbol, the wealth, but your soul is wanting to feel safe. At its core, greed is just profound, unmet fear. The ego believes that if it has enough resources, it can control the future and prevent suffering. But the soul knows that true security is an internal state, a radical trust in the flow of the universe. True safety is realizing that you are a child of the cosmos, eternally supported, regardless of the numbers in your bank account. 4. The distortion of envy, the craving for inspiration. When you are feeling envy, that sharp, bitter pain we feel when observing the success or possessions of others, your soul is actually craving inspiration. It's showing you not what you lack, but what is possible for you too. Envy is the universe holding up a mirror to your unrealized potential. The ego turns this reflection into bitterness, believing the universe has limited resources. But the soul sees the energetic blueprint. If someone else can achieve it, the path exists. Envy should be transmuted into a focused question: what steps did they take? How can I access that energy? 5. The distortion of wrath, the craving for justice and purpose. When you're feeling wrath, that flash of uncontrollable rage, that fire inside, your soul is actually craving justice. That fire inside you is not malice, it is the desire to protect what is right and to restore energetic balance. Wrath, or anger, is the energy of personal boundaries being violated or a deep sense of moral wrong. It is pure, potent, directional energy. The ego distorts it into senseless attack, but the soul's intention is pure, to establish order and right action. The key is to transmute the raw destructive force into constructive purpose, to let the heat of your passion drive you toward healing and advocacy, not destruction. 6. The distortion of sloth, the craving for rest. If you are feeling sloth, that heavy, Paralyzing lethargy that prevents action. Your soul is actually craving rest. It's not laziness, it is depletion. Sloth is a spiritual burnout, the final stage of overriding your body's and soul's signals for balance. In a culture that glorifies constant productivity, sloth is the soul hitting the emergency brake. It's a signal that your energetic bank account is empty. The solution is not more forcing or more guilt, but radical, non-negotiable rest and a re-evaluation of your internal priorities. 7. The distortion of pride, the craving for self-love. If you're feeling pride, that bloated, defensive need to feel superior or right, your soul is actually craving self-love. Behind every rigid ego is a heart that just wants to feel enough. Pride is a shield forged from fear. It is the ego desperately trying to convince the world, and itself, that it is valuable. The soul knows that its value is inherent and unconditional. The path to freedom is not through ego destruction, but through unconditional acceptance, loving the part of you that feels so insecure it has to pretend to be perfect. When you fill the well of self-love, the need for pride simply dissolves. Part 2, the Alchemy of Transmutation. Every single sin, every deep-seated human failing, is simply your soul shouting for balance, but the ego, acting as a frightened translator, distorts those needs into destructive behaviors. The core of spiritual growth is learning to intercept that message and translate it back to its original, pure intent. This is the great work of transmutation. It is not about eliminating your shadow, it is about embracing it and giving it what it truly asks for. The next time you feel one of these heavy energies rise up inside of you, don't immediately fight it. Don't shame yourself. Don't hide it. Instead, pause, breathe, and think of what your soul is truly asking for. Turn lust into connection. Don't reach for a body, reach for authentic human intimacy, shared vulnerability, or a creative project that connects you deeply to your own spirit. Turn gluttony into nourishment. Stop opening the fridge or the shopping app, go outside, sit in the sun, write in a journal, or call a loved one. Fill the spiritual hole with spiritual presence. Turn greed into trust. Stop counting what you have, start practicing gratitude for what is flowing. Focus on the internal feeling of safety, not the external proof. Turn envy into purpose. Stop comparing, start researching. Let the success of others act as a blueprint for your own motivated action. Turn wrath into justice. Stop lashing out, start channeling that fire into focused action, creative expression, or setting firm, powerful boundaries. Turn sloth into rest. Stop feeling guilty, start resting without apology. Honor the body's need for stillness so the soul can be recharged. Turn pride into self-love. Stop defending your ego, start embracing the scared, imperfect child beneath it with unconditional acceptance and compassion. Part 3, the Community of Transformation. This process, this daily practice of decoding and transmuting our energy is how we truly free our souls. It's the difference between living under the heavy burden of guilt and living in the light of empowered awareness. You are not meant to struggle, you are meant to understand the mechanics of your own energy field. I know this is deep work. It requires vulnerability, honesty, and a willingness to look at the parts of yourself you've been taught to despise. But you are not alone on this journey. Every single human being shares this same set of 7 energetic distortions. And that is why I ask this of you. If this message has resonated, if you've ever fought one of these energies only to realize it was asking for something pure, please take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel. By subscribing, you support this work and join a community dedicated to spiritual truth and energetic mastery. But more importantly, I want you to share your story in the comments section below. Tell us which sin has been your greatest struggle, lust, greed, or pride, and what pure need your soul was truly asking for. By sharing your vulnerability, you illuminate the path for countless others who believe they are broken. Let's build a testimony to the fact that we are all just souls learning to ask for love. Conclusion: the effortless flow. When you understand this principle, you stop working against the powerful river of your own emotional energy and start learning to surf it. You no longer need external tools to fix your behavior because you've addressed the internal need at its source. Turn negativity into positivity effortlessly because you are no longer changing the action, you are transforming the core intention. This is the simple yet profound key to spiritual freedom. The 7 sins are not chains binding you to a moral cage. They are 7 distinct doors, each one leading you back to the perfect, whole, unconditionally loving being you already are. Walk through them with courage, translate the whisper, and claim the divine balance your soul has been craving all along. Thank you for being here, and may your journey be filled with profound connection and boundless light.